Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Udwul Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. Today, I am talking religion again with Miriam Rose, who was once a Christian, but has now crossed to the other side. Does it change you that you were once a Christian and now you're Hindu? Have you significantly changed?
I have changed, and I think I'd say I've become better as a person. I've grown in values. I have a way better understanding of the teachings of the Bible, surprisingly. Yeah, because there are so many things that I have learned in Hinduism that shed more light into the teachings I had learned from the Bible. So I have become more grounded, and I think I've become more deliberate about my spiritual walk with God. Yeah, certainly.
Which God
better.
are we talking about? The cow?
There's one God.
The cow?
No. No, there's one God. So in Hinduism, people perceive it to be polytheistic, but it's actually monotheistic. There's one God called Narayana. And what happens is that he manifests himself in different aspects. So those different aspects, depending on, there's so many reasons. So for example, the people people are different, people are unique. So because of that reason, God puts himself in a way that will be adaptable to each person, because he wants a relationship with each person. So if I am more inclined to Narayana, I will worship him. If I'm more inclined to Krishna, I'll worship him. So, and each aspect represents a different, it's not values per se, but a different manifestation of God. So maybe devotion, maybe love, maybe friendship, so there's all these different aspects. So if I am interested in having a love relationship with God, I would probably gravitate towards Krishna. If I want a motherly aspect, I will probably gravitate towards the Divine Mother, something like that. So he has provided an array of options for people depending on their unique characteristics. That's what happens. So it's one God. The cow, we worship the cow because, you see, worship isn't the way people think it's. How do I put it? So we worship the cow in veneration because the cow represents the mother. The cow feeds us. The cow takes care of its young ones. The cow takes care of us. So for us, it's like a symbol of a mother. And because the mother is she's very highly esteemed, it's the same way. So we worship the mother in the form of a cow. Does that make sense? So the way people interchange God and cow is not exactly it. Yeah, there's Narayana, then there is the mother cow. It's funny.
It's the mother cow. The last time we met, you were having this, great hair,
Yeah.
Now you've cut it short, and then I see you've got some punk things going on. Your name is Miriam Rose.
Yes.
Correct? So how are you feeling today? The reason why I'm asking you that is we are having a very fast life today. You're chasing after things, chasing after money. My last guest talked elaborately about people chasing money and then money running away from them. And they can't catch up with the money. And so they start dropping responsibility, they start dropping trust, they start dropping just love for each other. How are you feeling today as a Hindu? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling like your shit is together? Are you feeling like you are amazing and the world is a good place? How are you feeling today?
It's funny you ask that. I actually have been having that discussion the whole of this week with myself. And I am feeling fulfilled. I'm feeling at peace, much more at peace. It's true that when you run after, someone says, if you run after money, it will run away like a woman. If you chase a woman, she runs away. So money is like a woman. So that's the thing. I have stopped chasing. There's this one time I was in meditation, not this week, but a couple of weeks ago, I was in meditation and I was wondering about money. I was like, okay, so this money situation. And then there was this, people say voice, but let's just use voice for argument's sake. The voice said, stop chasing, start attracting. Attract, stop chasing. And I'm like, that makes sense. Because that's all I've been doing. I've been chasing and I'm not getting anywhere. The money or whatever it is I was chasing just keeps running away. So I was like, okay, so that's fine. How do I attract? And what I've learned is Mahatma Gandhi and other wise men have said, or wise men and women have said, you can't change the world. You can only change the world if you change yourself, right? So the answer to my question of, so how do I attract was, don't change the outside. Stop striving to change the outside situations. Change yourself. Okay, cool. So how do I change myself? So the next question was, what am I striving for? I'm striving for peace of mind. That for me is paramount. Peace of mind, I'm looking for something fulfilling. I'm looking for love. I'm looking for happiness and joy. The joy is just that innate essence of happiness. I'm looking for happiness. Those are things I've been looking for the last, I'm 32, going to 33. I've been looking for those things. So the question was, so Sawa, now I know the list of things I'm looking for. How do I get there? How do I changing myself to become those things? The answer was be in the present moment. Just everything is in the present moment. That has also been said, but for some reason it was just becoming manifest in me. We've always been told there's no future, there's no past. Everything is in the now, and it's true because every time I do certain practices and I'm in the now, I feel peace, I feel happiness, I feel joy. So if those are the things I'm striving for, then what I should strive for is to be in the present moment, is to be in my own presence, and to prolong that for as long as I can. And that was what I've been doing since. So I hope I look it because I feel very peaceful.
You look like last time I told you that you look like a very rich kid.
I remember that one time and I was just laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask you the drawing on your forehead. It looks like a gazelle. Yeah. What does it symbolize?
So it symbolizes, I have this joke in my head, let me just say it, about my hair. There's a meme my sister sent me the other day, and it was saying that when this is the hairstyle, people who turn 32, they cut their hair and they make it look like this, and it's like, that's so wrong. It's not fair.
Meaning what?
I don't know. It was just a meme making fun of us 32-year-olds with our hairs. But it has nothing to do with that. It was just a choice. Anyway, so the drawing on my forehead is, it's called a tilak, Tilak, tilak. It represents certain aspects. So it's different, what do we call them? Sects in Hinduism have different tilaks. You'll see we don't look the same. Some it's just a U, others is a dot. So for us, from our guru, this is the one he gave us. So these two white lines represent the feet of the Lord, which is the goal of life. That's where I am aspiring to go, and hopefully anyone else who has it should aspire to get to the feet of the Lord. And then how you get to the feet of the Lord is through devotion. So this is the leaf. It's supposed to look like a leaf. I hope it does.
The white one.
The white one.
Yes, it does.
It's a holy basil, the plant called tulsi. It's a holy basil. The holy basil is an incarnation of the Divine Mother in the form of tulsi, and she represents devotion to the Lord. And the only way to get to the feet of the Lord is through devotion, bhakti. And therefore, how you get there, you need the help of someone who's gone there before you, who knows what the road is about, just a guide. And that's the red on the flower, on the leaf. It's called the guru dot. So you need a guru to teach you or to guide you towards devotion, or also to grace you with it. That's how you'll get to the feet. Now, when you do get to the feet, there's the red line in the middle. It represents illusion. So it said that this world is an illusion. And what that means is it's real, it's just temporary. It's gonna end at some point. So that's why the line is thick at the base, and it goes diminishing as it goes up, because when you attain the feet of the Lord, you get out of illusion. That's what it means. Yeah.
Amazing. You were once a Christian and then you decided that it's not working for me. So let's take some steps back into your life. Where were you born? How was your family? Were they Christians? What do you remember the most where you were born?
I was born here in Kiambu. My parents were Christians because I think it was the default. Mom from Anglican. My dad was born in independent church because it was the one during the colonial times. But he's not a church guy now. And my mom, Anglican from the parent side, is where we were baptized and all that. But as we were growing up, my home wasn't a strict Christian home, like you have to, there were no have-tos. So it was very easy. My mom, we were taught the values of like tithing, certain values, obedience, all the values we were instilled in us by our parents. My dad and I would read the Bible together and dissect it together, do philosophical debates together. I love that. He bought me once the Golden Bells and he taught me songs. And from the very beginning, I was very inclined to God. I always observe this about myself. I was always very inclined to God. So that kind of environment really nurtured my love for God. But like I said, it wasn't strict. So going to church wasn't like you have to go to Anglican or nothing. I'd go to where my cousins would go to, full gospel, I think Assemblies of God, all over. It wasn't all that. For me, I was just seeking somewhere where, was I really? Like, is God here? I'm good. It doesn't really matter what's the outfit like. Yeah, so I loved that it was flexible because I wasn't forced. I don't like being forced to do things, so that's good. Then when I grew up, so it was very flexible. So when I grew up in high school, I went to a Catholic school. I loved Mass because of the structure. I love structure, so that really worked for me. Then after that, I went to... actually, before I move on, I noticed the other day I was in Subukia Shrine, just literally like 2 weeks ago with my uncle. They are still Catholics. And I was impressed by myself or with myself because I was able to literally chant Mass as my uncle was chanting it. He's a father. The whole of it. Like, I remember all the mantras and I'm like, really, this is really cool. But I really genuinely loved it. Then after that, I went to campus. I came to campus in Parklands, UN Parklands to study law. And I was looking for churches because that was what to do. So I looked around and I landed on Parklands Baptist. I love Pastor Ambrose very much. He's so cool. He's very godly. And I look for essence. I'm a very intuitive person. So I look for people with essence. Because I went to some churches and I just left there feeling empty. And I'm like, hey, this isn't it. Because again, I'm looking for the God essence. So I found it in Parklands Baptist. And then in 2019 but then around 2013, before I completed school, I started having this urge to look for more. So I started trying out certain other religions. I started like looking into Buddhism. I was employed by a Buddhist organization. So I was like, this sounds good. I like this. I love their rules and everything. Maybe I could join them, but I wasn't able to. I tried Jews. I had a friend who was a Jew. I started asking questions like, what is it called? There's a word. Then I tried Islam, I was just like, I'm too lazy for all these prayers. I can't. So I will probably just sin the first day. So that's how I dropped it. But I started feeling an urge right after campus. Like, I just need more. I tried the Scientology.
The Church of Scientology.
Yeah, I met someone who was to introduce me, but it never even happened. I also wanted to try that other one where they go backward. They enter the church backwards. What is it called? It's not Illuminati. It's...
Yeah, the one opposite All Saints Cathedral.
Exactly. That's actually the picture on my mind.
What is it called?
That one. I was to go.
Yeah.
That's that one. And I remember being told if you go in, you can come out. It wasn't scary, but I just never got to. I went to Kenya School of Law and then the search stopped. I continued now focusing on education. But yeah, I guess that explains that.
Do you consider yourself to have been a staunch Christian?
I think I was, you know this phrase people say, religious, spiritual, not religious?
Yeah.
I started using that term way before I actually heard it from people. I just always knew there was something about religion proper, the thickness of it that I just don't like. I actually used to tell that to my cousins. I'm like, I'm more spiritual than religious. Like, so I wouldn't consider myself staunch. Like, I have to follow rules.
Born again?
Did I ever get born again? Every time there was an opportunity to go to do those dips, something always happened. I never did. I've been baptized, I've been confirmed, but I have been born again, I've remembered. There's one time, I think it was Parklands Baptist, there was whatever church it was, somewhere, and then there's an altar call. And that was just like, I think I should really just do this. And then I did. So I think that if that was the being born again, I think I have been born again a couple of times. Oh, there's another one. Oh God, I need Jesus. Because
you need Jesus.
I need Jesus because I think I've been born again many times. There's one time when I was really young, my grandma on my mother's side is very, 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 very staunch. And that time, my great-grandmother was still alive. Then this one time, I went crying to her, and I think she was preaching to me or something, and I started feeling convicted and guilty for something. Then I told her I wanted to be born again. So my great-grandmother I had completely forgotten this. They both prayed for me, and I think they prayed for me, and we sang and everything, and I was just crying the whole time. Such a sweet memory, because my great-grandmother passed on, but I remember her saying, yes, from today on, you're born again or something. That felt special. Of all the others, I must have been like 6 or 7 or something, very young, but they prayed for me. That makes me feel so nice. Yeah. But I think what that did is just connect me more to God, because I was young. But hizi zingine za kukua mkubwa, I didn't feel the same feeling, if that makes sense. But yes, I think I've been born again a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a time, you told me that you had a lot of chaos within your life, a lot of things going on, and you were trying to find yourself. There's a story you told me. Remember the story that you told me?
I mean, my life has been chaos so much.
Yeah. How so? How's your life been chaotic?
I'm glad it was chaotic because it strengthened me so much. It's funny saying this looking back now.
Yeah. Tell me about the chaos.
But it was, let's say, family at some point. Happy family, happy childhood. Very happy. And then at some point starts getting rocky. And so there's just domestic violence and all that. And that wasn't nice. So at some point, I remember feeling very helpless, and I wanted like my mom to leave, because why are you staying? What's wrong with you? So I remember judging her and feeling helpless, and I'm like, being a woman is such an annoying thing. Like, why does being a woman feel like you're a helpless person? That's something I've actually had to heal. And that was around high school, 2005, 2006, and I contemplated, not suicide, that wasn't suicide, it was just, I couldn't find purpose for life. I'm like, I don't get why I'm here. I don't see my purpose, it makes no sense. So I wrote a letter to my family, and I told them, so you guys just take my life and then donate my organs, because I'd learned, I think in bio, that you can donate organs. I'm like, I am pretty healthy, donate my organs to people who find a better reason to live, because me, I have no reason. Yeah, so I guess at that point they talked to me. I'm like, no one is convincing me, you guys won't do it, so it's fine. That's around Form 2. Then it went on, actually. It really went on. And then afterwards, when I came now to Nairobi, I escaped for a while. There was money issues. So even initially we didn't have money issues, then eventually we had money issues. So money issues was not nice. So I contemplated selling drugs. That was funny. Because it's like, this is easy money.
Where would you get the drugs?
I'm very resourceful if I want something. But I had this friend who unfortunately passed away. He convinced me not to do it. So I went to start doing, it's called merchandising. I was selling Del Monte or something. And then that's in campus. Then I think after I started working in the law firm, also there was a lot of abuse there as well. That's rampant. Don't let anyone fool you. There's a lot of abuse in the legal field in different shapes and sizes. So I encountered that, and that really was just the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. So I left because I actually fell sick. I had severe ulcers. I had migraines, extreme tension headaches. So I had to leave. That was just the cue for me. And then after that, I now started finding myself. So the problem also was through and through, I never used to know what I really wanted to do. So law was just a stable career. I could do it. I'm smart. It's really not that complicated. But I knew it wasn't it. It wasn't going to give me fulfillment, and it didn't. So I eventually left. So I left to find myself. So I guess it was an existential crisis of sorts at 24, 5 there. Yeah, I guess.
Do you think it is difficult to be a woman? You just talked about...
Now I think it's a privilege. It has its challenges, but now there's this perspective I've adopted that I feel like these things are more by design. And I feel like they're more by design to bring out the potential that a woman has. So I'm now able to see the potential in a woman than see it as from the victim perspective, because the victim perspective is something I held for so long, for the feminine energy, the whole feminine energy. It's not just the women, and vice versa. I used to think the masculine energy was favored. I thought they were the perpetrators. I thought it was just a toxic energy, but now I realize no, actually they have the masculine energy has its place as well in the dynamic, and they both have to balance, and they all have to be healthy. So work also has to be done to become a healthy masculine and a healthy feminine, and for that to really bring out the potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I have a follow-up question for it.
Cool.
You see, right now, I don't know whether, in the pagan world.
What are you?
A pagan. I was born again in 1998. I haven't left the Lord. I find church very problematic. It gives me a lot of triggers to be within the church compound. But I don't think I'm a pagan. But there's a lot of problems right now between women and men. Like, you see a man and you see trouble. You see a woman and you see... Did you see Tyrese crying the other day?
I did, yes.
What did you think about it?
I think it's a human thing. I don't think it's a men problem or a women problem, because this kind of categorizations is what brings about the polarities, and then now everyone is just polarized, and everyone is... I don't buy into that perspective. I honestly feel like there's a lot of healing, emotional and mental, physiological, psychological, that needs to happen in the whole planet. And I always say, if something comes in the news for you, there's something it's reflecting of you. So it's a cue for you to heal that part of yourself. So when I saw Tyrese and when you saw him, I'm sure it triggered different things in both of us, right?
What did it trigger in you?
That's a good question. Honestly, the first thought was what I just said. I was like, there's more work to be done here. I didn't even listen so much. I had heard there was a baby mama drama. I just sent him I was empathetic. I felt empathy towards him, and towards myself, because I've said it's a mirror. So I was able to send empathy in an instant. I actually saw it and scrolled, but I remember feeling for him, sending him empathy, sending it back to myself, and wishing him healing.
What does that mean? I don't understand what you are doing. Can you explain what the idea around that? What is the idea around what you're actually talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so one thing we do a lot of is that we are very critical, self-critical, very judgmental of ourselves. And if we are judgmental of ourselves, it means we are also going to judge other people, right? So that's like more default than anything else. It's a default. It's a default way of living because it stems from our survival. So it's not. I don't want to make it sound like it's a wrong thing. I don't want to make it wrong. It's a survival mechanism. As species, we were in the wild and we needed to survive, and we needed certain parts of our brains to survive. It's a survival part of our brains, right? And that part has judgment, because I need to be able to judge whether a tree is moving because a leopard is just about to run to eat me. The problem is, once I leave the wild and I come to the modern world, I didn't stop using that part of my brain. So what happens is I continue to survive, and the judge continues to stay. So now the judge has to have something else to judge. So what do? They keep judging you. They keep judging other people. They keep judging circumstances. And what does that do? It affects your emotional, mental, psychological, all that. Does that make sense? There is another part also of the brain that is, it's called, we call it in my practice, empathy circuitry. So it evokes feelings of joy, it evokes feelings of compassion, empathy, kindness, love. They're not on the same part of the brain, literally. They are different parts of the brain. So the problem is, we have been socialized to live, we've continued to live from the survival brain so much that we are not thriving, because now the compassion, kindness, intuition, imagination, creativity has been suppressed. No one is bringing that up so that we can start using it. Does that make sense? Mm. So now that I know that, when I saw Tyrese, I was able to now bring up that kind of love and empathy and compassion and send it to him, because it will mirror back to me. Instead of judging him or judging the baby mama or judging the situation, I switched that part in myself off so that I was able to switch on the empathy, compassion part, and that's how I was able to send it to him. And energy is energy. Believe me, it reached him. Mm. So the same way your energy reached him, my energy reached him.
Mm. Do you remember the exact time that you decided that I want to be Hindu, and you were leaving the Lord? You were, Christian would say that you're going to hell.
So I go to the market for some reason many times. So I have been called all sorts of things. I've been called a witch. I've been called a ghost. The ghost one is very funny. And the other one, I went somewhere to buy some food, and the man sold the groceries to me. And then he started, no, it wasn't him who sold it, I think the daughter or something. Then he started saying, "In the name of Jesus." And he said it like, you know how we say it when we are cussing someone out, like trying to exorcise them? That's exactly how he was saying it. But I could also tell how he was looking at me like, "You've touched our tomatoes, they need to be exorcised." So he said, "In the name of Jesus," like 3 times. Mm. I just laughed, because what else were they supposed to do? So I didn't know I was going to be Hindu. So what happened is, I went to this event. Hinduism was the last thing on my mind. Remember when I listed down the religions I was contemplating, Hinduism is not for African-skinned people, it's for Indians in Parklands. It's never in anyone's mind. So it wasn't part of it wasn't on the tray for me. So one day we went to this event, and the monk that we were going to listen to was reciting the Bhagavad Gita. So he was reading.
What is Bhagavad Gita?
The Bhagavad Gita is one of the many scriptures in Hinduism. It's like the flagship one, just like the Bible. So the Gita and the Quran, but we have many others. So as he was reciting the Gita, it's 18 chapters only, it's 700 verses. It's very short. It's just recited over a week. As he went on, I remember I told you I had an existential crisis moment, and those were the days when I kept asking myself, who am I? What am I doing here? Those questions didn't stop after Form 2, they continued. So as he was speaking, I started hearing answers to my questions, like, who am I? Or who is human? Who is a man? Who is God? Why do things happen the way they happen? It's a judge of circumstance. So my judge was like, why are good people? This same question. Why are children dying? Why is Africa suffering? Why are bad people thriving and good people are not? Questions like those ones were in the back of my mind. So I started hearing responses that were satisfactory to me, because I had asked these questions many times to many people and no one gave me a satisfactory answer. So this time I was like, okay, it's a conversation. In the Gita, it's a conversation. So the guy was asking questions I was asking, and the other guy or person was responding satisfactorily to those questions. So I was curious. I learned now later that it was the Bhagavad Gita, and I knew that that's a book at that point I wanted to read, acquaint myself with. But then it so happened that we were not allowed to take it home. Plus, it's really hard to read alone. So what happened is we continued going there for a week, but as we were going, as he was explaining, he talked about his guru, and I was now more curious to learn about the guru and this guru. So
what
I
is
went.
his name? Who is he?
He's a spiritual master. He's called Paramahamsa Sri Swami Vishwananda. Paramahamsa Vishwananda. And I even have that book. And then around that time, I learned of a book called Autobiography of a Yogi. So that book is written by another guy who got, he's called Yogananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda, and his stories with his guru. So it was very easy to now start understanding the logistics. Then the guru, Paramahamsa Vishwananda, he was coming to Mauritius, and I wanted to meet him. But I wanted to meet him more because before the monk left, that's 2 weeks in, I got initiated into Hinduism. But I didn't do it because I wanted to be Hindu. It's like a paradox. I just found myself there. But I was also following my heart. See how my heart just always knew this church makes me feel empty. This church makes me feel good. I can trust this person. I'm very intuitive, I said that. So I was also following my heart, and my heart told me you can get initiated under this teacher. But my mind is like, no, we don't know him. Let's go find out about him. So that's when I flew to Mauritius to find out more about the guru now. And I did. I met him. And when I did meet him, I remember feeling a lot of love. And I knew that my soul just knew this is where I want to stay. But then since he happened to be Hindu, I'm like, I guess now we are becoming Hindu, you see. So I don't think it was more Hindu. It was more my guru. It was more the scripture. Then Hindu came later. It follows in that way, yeah.
I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to programming. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Gita and how it makes you, for lack of a better word, a better human being? What are the core teachings of Hinduism?
Okay. The Gita is divided, it's 18 chapters. It's divided into three chapters of 6 each. So the first 6 talks about life. I mean, it talks about who am I. It describes the human body, the soul, the spirit, reincarnation, karma. It talks about, yes, all those things. So who am I? And when you read it, you're better able to understand that we are not just this body. We are not our minds completely. We are not our intellect. We are more than that. We are the soul. And we don't die. The soul is not born, so it can't die. It has always been there. It will always be there, yeah? So what happens is that the soul just transmigrates from one body into another. And it actually describes that the soul drops bodies like the way you change your clothes, like the way you changed yours. That's how easily it happens. And I loved that. I'm like, this makes sense. For me, reincarnation needed to make sense. It just needed to make sense. So when I read that, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. So many things are adding up.
So the soul inside of you was inside of somebody else before?
Sorry?
The soul inside of you today was inside?
No. My soul is mine. So the soul is an individual. My soul is my own. Your soul is your own. You just keep changing bodies. So when you drop this body, you will become a different person with different parents, with different siblings. You'll just be a different person to people. Like if I meet you in the next life, you'll probably be John, and I'll probably be Mary, for example. I'll probably get married. So in that sense, so your soul remains your soul. Then we'll probably be like, I feel like I've known you before. It's because we did this interview. We'll probably not remember. You never remember. When you move from one body to the next, you don't remember.
You might be a thief in the next life.
You might be, actually.
You might be a murderer.
Yes, you might be.
You might be the president.
Exactly. Exactly. You know why I love that concept of reincarnation so much, honestly? There's a time I was thinking about Ruto, and I was like, it's so weird. Much as I understand, I have different perspectives of the issue, but one perspective is, it's so funny you think you have all this power now. Next time you might come back and find yourself in the slums pushing a donkey cart. Like, life is so flimsy. Yeah. So make use of life right now to get the things that matter the most. You mentioned that money doesn't matter. Money is a tool. It's not the thing that you're supposed to spend your mental and emotional energy running after. You make use of this body. Anyway, and that thought makes me happy because I don't like tyrants. I'm like, yeah, you're going to suffer in your next life. I'm happy for that's my judging tyrants. Anyway, so that's the first part of the Gita. The second part talks about who God is. That's the age-old question. People are always asking this question. So it is answered in the Gita. And I love the way they show that the individual soul is the essence of God. So we are eternally from God, with God. We will go back to Him. We are His essence. Anyway, so he talks about who God is, and Krishna declares himself to be God. And he was an avatar of God. He came down and took a human body, and he went back. And then that also sheds more light. Then the last bit I love that it explains what life is. Why do things happen the way they happen? The nature of life, let me say. And again, I love that because I'm able to understand those questions that people always ask. The reasons why most atheists are atheists is like, why would a loving God do this? So it explains that that's explained in the final six chapters of the Gita. So why it gives me so much joy is because it helps me understand. I'm logical. I am also very logical, and I like when things make sense. After I read the Gita, life started making sense. So I now stopped feeling like I didn't have purpose. I stopped feeling like I didn't need to be here. I started understanding why I'm here and what I need to do with this life, right? So that's why the Gita
What do you need to do with this life then?
Yeah.
What do you need to do with this life?
I need to cease the cycle of birth and rebirth. I just need to stop coming back over and over again. And that I'm stopping because I'm evolving to the level that I no longer need to come back to. But over and above that, it's to, again, attain the feet of the Lord, which is go back home, go back to where I came from, go back home. And home is not heaven, by the way. Home is
What do you think about heaven? Because it is what keeps us together as Christians.
I don't think about heaven. I know heaven and hell are not home. So where God, Narayana, stays, Narayana, remember our one God, Narayana, that's home. That's where we came from, and then now we came to the material world. I am striving to go back there in this lifetime. I am not skuji kukuoa next time. You don't have a wife next life in me. So heaven is temporary, and so is hell. There are very many heavens and very many hells. I think there are 28 hells. And all of them, depending on the gravity of whatever it is you're going to get punished for or gifted for. So what happens is that when you're here on the scriptures, our scriptures say, when you do good deeds, you collect punya, and it's like a bank. Let's say it's a bank account, so you collect punya, credit. Then when you do bad things, you collect the same. And now when you die, you'll go to hell and be punished for your bad deeds. Then you'll
One
now
of
go
the
to
28.
heaven. One of the 28, yeah. Then you'll go to heaven. And there are different heavens because depending on your level of soul elevation. So they are very high elevated souls, you go to higher planets, higher heavens. Then kawaida, people will just go to kawaida heaven. You'll have fun, it's all good and everything. But then once your good punya runs out, your soul comes back and continues its soul evolution. So we are also here to evolve. The soul is here to evolve and go back to the same ni kama kuondoa madoadoa, and then now you become who you really are. So you stop your identification with your ego, your mind, your body. When you're no longer identifying with the ego, then now you can identify with who you truly are, who is God essence. Yeah.
Okay.
So the answer to that is I want to go home.
You want to go home?
Yes.
And home is not heaven?
No, I don't want to go to heaven. I want to go home to Narayana.
Narayana
and that's why
it's one of the gods.
No, he's the supreme God. So one of the reasons
like the God of Moses. You'd equate him to the God of Moses.
I am really not sure. I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to comment on that.
Why?
Because I don't know who the God of Moses. I don't know him.
You don't know him?
I can't comment on someone I don't know.
You don't know the God of Moses?
I can't even comment on Narayana because I don't know him. So what happens is the reason why I follow a guru, you haven't asked, is the guru is the one person who can help me bridge that, to get out of the cycle.
The guru is Jesus.
Jesus was a guru. Yes, that's a perfect comparison. Remember how
Jesus was a guru.
Yes, a guru is just a teacher.
So your guru is right. Your Jesus is right here on earth. How amazing!
How cool, right? I know. Thank you for getting it. I'm like, thank you. I know you're being sarcastic.
I'm
but
not sarcastic, by the way.
I am so.
Why do you think? Why do you
happy.
think I'm sarcastic?
I hope you're not, because you
I am-
spot on 100%.
I am not. I am not sarcastic. I would love my Jesus to be around here. Take
Yes.
coffee with me in the garden. You flew to Mauritius to meet your Jesus
Yeah.
and got him.
Yeah, and he's like really cool.
Is he poor or rich?
He's just a monk.
A monk is a poor person, right?
I mean, yeah.
Where do they get their money though?
It
They
doesn't
live
have-
really,
See,
really well.
We donate. Yeah.
Donate.
So, yes, Les, my Jesus is here on earth. How cool. And he's the one who will help me get out of the cycle. Otherwise, there's literally no way out. Just keep going and coming and going and coming.
Their Hindu lifestyles, medication, yoga, and rituals that promote mindfulness and well-being. Do you want to talk about how you guys meditate and why people think that yoga is satanic and you guys love it so much?
Where do people think it's satanic? Like, where did that even come from?
But you went to buy tomatoes and literally the people thought that Satan had appeared and they needed to exercise. So
That's
why are you
so
surprised is my question.
I always want to ask people who say it's like, oh God, anyway.
What do you want to ask? I'm a Christian. I could be of help.
Like, why? What is it about yoga that's satanic? Like, what is it about closing your eyes and breathing and connecting with your inner self?
So now
It's
explain
satanic. Like,
to
I don't
us
get
what
it.
yoga is, because probably they don't know what it is. What is yoga? My wife is a yoga teacher, but I want to hear it from you. What is yoga? What is meditation? What is sitting in some weird kind of pose
Posture.
and looking into the skies like you're worshiping a cow?
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
the whole idea behind so yoga means union with God. Right?
Union with God.
Yeah.
The God
Union
that
with
you
the
talked about.
divine.
What is his name?
Let's even just say union with the divine, because divine is a bit more general.
Okay.
Right? Let's just talk of divine. God is, someone who told me, God is like a label. It's just a title. Because everyone will take God and ascribe a different thing to him. So let's just use union with the divine.
Okay.
Cool. So the whole thing behind meditation and yoga is what's the divine. You'd have to understand what the divine is. It's that essence I was talking about, the God essence in us. And that God essence is inside us, like the soul is somewhere inside the body. And that soul, being the God essence, is what we should strive to connect with. And what's we? It's our senses. So we need to strive to connect our senses to what is real, which is the soul. That's like we said, it's the only real thing. These other things are just temporary and they're gonna leave. The other thing the Gita teaches is that God is not in heaven, chilling, waiting for us. I don't know at what point. He's always next, literally next to the soul. So in you and me, we carry God and we carry our souls. And you remember how in Christianity used to be told our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit? It's exactly the same. See, I told you I understand the Bible better now because I'm like, oh, this is what they meant. The temple of so take care of your body because it's through the body that you will evolve your soul. It's through the body that you will let go of karma and purify yourself. So anyway, the soul and the Atma, it's called the Atma and the Paramatma, always together, always. They don't leave each other. God never leaves us. He's always with us. So what meditation, I want to just call it yoga because meditation also, the West has made it has removed some of it, the divine. You need to just close your eyes and follow your breath kind of vibe. But the essence is supposed to be draw your senses inside and connect to the truth, the true essence, who you truly are. And why are we drawing our senses from outside to inside is because the senses are always, by design, they always follow their sense objects. So like we talked of money or even food or even this water. So when my mind sees this water, it will tell my brain that I'm thirsty, right? So, and that's just a very simplistic example. The reason why we are always chasing things of this outside world, Maya, is because our mind and our senses are always looking for the things that will gratify them. We are always looking for sensual pleasures. money, sex, name it, everything that's outside is made for our senses to feel pleasure. The problem with that is because those things are always temporary, we suffer. So we suffer because those things are ending. Have you ever had this phenomenon where you go, let's say, to a birthday party or a party and you're happy, then the next minute you're not happy, you're down, then it keeps going like a yo-yo, up and down. Does that make you happy? Do you want to live a life like that?
No.
It's very exhausting, right? Exactly. So now what you do, draw your senses away from that kind of yo-yo life and draw it inside, because your soul is pure joy, it's pure bliss, it's pure truth. Just go inside and stay there. Then you'll always be in joy, in bliss, in happiness. And that is what most saints, those saints you guys see walking around, not all, but some who are just very saintly and quiet and contemplating, they are actually in touch with that bliss. They are high. They are always in ecstasy because they've been able to bring their senses into the inside. That's what the essence of meditation and yoga is. I don't see how the devil is coming in there.
Is that the kind of ritual that you also do in the Hindu temple?
We do yoga, we call it Kriya Yoga. So my guru has initiated us into Atma Kriya Yoga. There are different Kriya Yogas. So Kriya just means action. Yoga is union with the divine, but the essence of Kriya Yoga is cessation of karma also, in addition to awakening Bhakti. Bhakti is devotion. So once you keep going inside, the more your soul is like, oh, kuna mtu ananisikiza, let me go and find out who. So you and your soul become one. We have, what else do we have? Om chanting. Om chanting is chanting Om. Om. This Om, yeah. So
Om is like OM.
Yes, OM.
Meaning what?
It's the cosmic sound. So you see in the Bible, it starts with, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. It's Om, because from Om, that's where everything comes from. Basically, all of creation comes from Om. Through Om chanting, there is healing that happens. There is many things that happen, because if it's the original vibration, it's basically the word of God. It's God himself. If you chant it, you start now imbibing it and it becoming it, raising your frequency to basically the highest possible frequency. So we also do Om chanting. I conduct Om chanting circles as well. It's done in a circle because you want to consolidate that energy and transmute negative energy.
So it is a group thing?
It's a group thing.
But you can do it alone?
Yeah, you can do it alone. But you can't conduct it for other people if you haven't been initiated, because you need certain protection, because it's energy you're dealing with. Yeah. So there is Om chanting. There is other rituals like worshipping the deity, our temple deity. I can show you the picture.
Yes, you can show me. The gods.
Oh, yeah, that's something else. Yes, the god. We have at our temple, we have Narasimha. So Narasimha means half man, half lion. There's a whole story. There's a backstory. It's really long. But that's who our guru gave us to worship. I also have my own personal deities. So I do something called puja, a ritual called puja to them. It's Krishna and Radharani. And what else do? We do so many things.
Yeah.
But those are among them. Abhishek,
I wanted to talk about, thank you for that. I want to talk about the concept of Dharma, duty and karma. The word karma is coming from, is big in the Hindu community.
Pig?
Karma is big in the Hindu community.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And Dharma, yeah? Duty.
Yes.
Can you explain to me what it means?
So karma, karma is karma means action. It's different from how people know it in the conventional way of you do bad things, you get bad things back. That's very simplistic. So karma just means action, and it means in this material world, in this material universe, the laws like gravity, the laws of karma is action and reaction are equal and opposite. So that's where the notion of if you do something wrong, you'll get back the consequences came from, and vice versa. If you do something good, you'll get the consequences as well. But it's way more nuanced than that. It's very hard to understand. So I'm trying to think of the easiest one I can explain to you. That is fun. So karma, like I said, is action. So when the soul came from God and it came into this material universe, once it entered, it started creating karma. Karma is something you create with every being. You create karma by breathing, by thinking, by talking, by everything. All action in the material world will create an equal and opposite a consequence. So imagine from the moment the soul entered, it started creating karma, and that until you have no karma, that's the only time you can go back. So that's practically impossible because you cannot not breathe. You cannot not, yeah. So when the soul now came down, it accumulated certain karma. It needed to take lives. It said that on this planet is one place because it has something. It has the ability to carry duality. Duality is good, polarity, good and bad. So here is the one place the souls are able to remove the karma that they created. So that's why people incarnate to this planet, to this plane. So it creates karma, it comes to planet Earth, it discharges the karma, leaves the consequences, but the problem is it will create more, right? So there is karma in storage. There's karma in storage. Then what happens is when it comes here, it just takes a bit of that karma in storage to come with it here, to discharge it, and then now it carries more, and then that it has made goes back to storage. So can you see why there's a cycle?
Yeah.
Because it keeps coming and going. Yeah. So that's why Kina Jesus are the ones who used to say like, he will rid us of our sins. Those are the things he used to say, like he'll die on the cross. Masters have the ability to take away that karma, so that you'll be la karma, so that you can go back home. So there are those three types of karma. The one in storage, the one you come here with. So every baby, I went to see my friend the other day, and I was just looking at that baby, and I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I wonder how your life is going to be. Like, she's come with karma that she's supposed to discharge. So it's not predestined, but there's pretty much what she's come to do. That's why she's born to those specific parents. She'll probably go into this, probably marry a specific person like that. There's a level of predestination, not that there's no free will, but there's a level of predestination. And then now the karma she's going to collect. So those three types of karmas. I hope that's not complicated.
Yeah.
And then there's
Dharma.
So
it's
Dharma
pronounced
is,
Dharma.
Yes. Dharma is duty, but it also means righteousness, like the right way of doing something. So now duty there is two duties. So there is your universal Dharma and your personal Dharma. So like this, what we are doing is your personal Dharma. You're interviewing us to spread information and knowledge to people. That's what you were born to do pretty much, or you agreed to do when you came. Then your universal Dharma is what you going back to God. Because at the end of the day, the soul, regardless of whether your mind can perceive it or not, at the end of it, the soul longs to go back home, to go back to the owner, to God. So going back home or going back to the feet of the Lord, or whatever, that, however it can be put, is the duty of the soul, or is the duty of man. So as you're doing your personal Dharma, remember God, remember to discharge your karma, remember to fulfill your personal Dharma and do it in a proper way. Do the things that you're supposed to do so that you can attain your universal Dharma. Yeah.
How does Hinduism treat the ills of the society? But before that, I want to ask you, how does Hinduism deal with relationship? Like, if you have a boyfriend, are you supposed to have sex before marriage? Are you supposed to? What are the laws? The Hindu laws. How does it dictate how relationships are supposed to to go. I think as Christians we are supposed not to touch somebody before marriage. Hapo kwa Hinduism, how do you guys roll?
It's the same. The values are values. Good values are good values. Sex is supposed to be in marriage. The duty of the husband and the wife is supposed to be kept. Wives are supposed to be, dutiful to their husbands, like be very, what's the word? Faithful. Be faithful to your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. So you see, they are very Hinduism. The scriptures as ancient as there were some that were not. It's not strict. There's nowhere you'll read that it's strictly monogamous. What I have seen is that men opted into monogamy. So there was no rule that you can't. No. Men opted, so they were like, I will only marry one wife. I will not take other women.
So if a Hindu man goes and gets another wife, then you can't go to church and accuse them of...
I don't know about now. You see, the rules of society have changed. So now I'm referring to past scriptures. The stories I've seen, most were polygamous. Not all. Most were polygamous. The monogamous ones, the man chose to be monogamous. There's no rule like monogamy or bigamy, rules like those ones. And yes, you needed to just have sex within marriage. I loved another thing. Now I say I love it. Before I had a problem with it. Remember, we used to be told sex is for procreation. Now I understand it. I get that, actually. Because the bliss I was talking about, the ecstasy, that is like 1,000 times. 1,000 is an understatement of what you can get from ecstasy through having sex. That is just proper ecstasy. So when you are able to access that level of ecstasy, you're like, I don't even need to have sex. I will only just have sex to have kids. Now it makes sense. That's the way we used to be told sex is just for propagation. It's called propagation, getting kids.
So that's what it is?
Sex is just to have children. Yes.
That's what you're saying? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying that.
It's not for us to just have fun?
No, because
in the trunk of a car.
But I already gave you a whole speech about how we are supposed to bring our senses inside so that we tap into better ecstasy.
But then, if we're just having sex to give birth, then we shouldn't be having sex during the 9 months pregnancy. That's what you're saying?
So now you see, with the times moving, there's a lot of degradation, and people are holding more things.
You don't think it's just it's not, you can't just have a good fuck and not give birth?
Is this going on here? My God. Mimi, I can't speak for everyone.
Yes, now where?
I can speak for someone who has experienced that internal ecstasy. It is way, way, way much better. Like, sex is not a thing. Like, when you have that feeling, you will probably just become a monk and go meditate all day. Because imagine let me ask you, Jagero, the feeling, that high you get.
During sex?
Not during, after you come.
Yes.
Now imagine that for a whole day. How would you like it? How would you like that experience? There's nothing to think about. Would you like it or not?
What is that feeling?
No.
You have to agree to what the feeling is.
No, man. There's only one feeling people get.
After coming?
I guess.
At the height of it?
At the height of... or
like the orgasm kind of feeling?
Yeah. So imagine you're in orgasm for 24 hours.
We're supposed to be that? We're supposed to have that in life?
I'm trying to explain what ecstasy could feel like.
No,
so
that's a lot.
So how would you like it?
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Do you know why? So would you like it?
No.
Cool.
I think it's a lot.
That's a good answer, because apparently with the... I call it dumbing down. With the times, we are just dumbing down. We are losing so much of the way our cells can handle ecstasy. So you're right. It's right that your mind thinks it would be too much. That is why, before you're given that feeling, that emotion, you're supposed to have prepared your body. So all those meditations, all that preparation, all those rituals you are asking are purifying you. You feel it's like what you have is like a cell, and now it's clogged. And then once it's clogged, that's why even if you're given that much orgasm, you can't take it. So what you do is we now start purifying it so that it goes back to like a light bulb. It's able to hold that much current, because it's current actually. So it's able to hold that much current and you won't explode. So you're just in a high.
Yeah.
Exactly. But now we are so dirty. It's clogged up. We are clogged up by so many other things. And we have become so basic that we think an orgasm is the highest possible, probably, and drugs is the highest possible way to get high or ecstasy. It's basic.
We can go higher.
Yeah. And not explode and not feel bad. You get, as long as you're clear, you'll feel good. So, pick your struggles.
You guys go to church every day? To Hindu temple?
Yeah, there are prayers every day. But in Kenya, we congregate on Saturday evening. In Germany, which is the headquarters for now, where my guru stays or lives, it's Sunday. So Sunday is the day they all congregate. But it's really, there's no competition of days.
You can pick a day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool. I just love the freedom Hinduism has. It looks like there are so many rituals and so many rules, and there are, but there's also a lot of freedom.
You guys pay tithe?
Yes, you tithe 10%.
Of what?
Of whatever you want, but we have a formula. So for us, it's 10% after all your basic needs are met. So you remove all your basic needs, including debts and all that. What you remain is what you
in Kenya, I imagine that you will remain with nothing after that.
If you remain with nothing, it's fine.
Which is beautiful.
You're not hounded.
Do you know what Christians want? The gross?
I mean, if someone has the gross, because I know I'll get to a point that I can afford to give 10% of my gross. Why not? It's not your money. It's God's money. Just give him. He'll give it back.
Money.
It's not your money. You're just in possession of it. That's the thing we are talking about.
That is triggering.
Yeah.
The idea that your money is not your money.
It's not your money.
That's very cool. I think that's very dangerous when you want to tell people that their money is not their money. That is why in Christianity it is chaotic.
Do you know why?
Because the pastor can tell you to donate all of it. The pastor can tell you to give them your house and remain with nothing, to give them your school fees, because of that idea that your money is not your money.
Look.
It's your money.
The reason why you need to choose the person you follow very carefully is for such things. You don't want to follow someone who is going to exploit you with such principles. It's that simple. So I'm not going to follow someone who it's not your money. Why? Because you're not the giver. It's God. That is as immutable, it's unchanging as gravity. These things, you didn't get yourself this studio. God's grace got you this studio.
I imagine.
You should. So, and he can take it away anytime. Right? Which is why we do gratitude exercises. Be grateful for what you're given. You lose it, or we lose it, when we start thinking it's mine. Why that's dangerous is because when you lose it, you suffer. So unless you just love suffering, you need to start getting nuanced about life and how life works and what life is. Right? So once you know that thing doesn't belong to you, parting with it doesn't trigger you as much, shouldn't. And if it does trigger you, then it's something to look into, right? And once you know the giver of these things has everything, Malachi 3:10, right? If you know that the owner doesn't need it, kwanza, that's the first thing. The person doesn't even need it. And then they own everything and they can potentially give you everything. So unangangana hapo na 1 million yako ama ni 10 million yako. Like, what's your problem? See, that is a you problem. It's a you ego problem. It's not a God problem or a pastor's problem. Ujite mkutano, you look at your principles, you look at who you're following, you listen to what they're saying. If it resonates with you, fine. If you are not healed enough to, and you're being manipulated left, right, and center, that's on you. It's work you need to do. Yeah.
Why do you think there is so much problem in the world today? So much suffering, so much lack of money, so much lack of shelter? so much broken marriages?
So I was telling some people just the other day, this world is supposed to be like that.
Yeah?
Because the soul isn't those things. The soul is detached from those things, and the soul is supposed to use the body to go through those things so that it can evolve, right? So for example, if you, I want to use my own example. So the situation I was telling you with my dad, the domestic or whatever, one of the things I learned from that is forgiveness and unconditional love. I was actually talking about this in a Twitter space I held last Friday. I was telling them I was able to learn unconditional love for my dad and forgiveness of my dad and myself, of both of us, the concept of forgiveness, only because I had to go through that. So what I will not do is sit at a corner and look at, let's say if I could draw myself out and look at my dad and me and start questioning life. Why is life like this? Why is my dad being like this? Why am I? That doesn't help anyone. What helps the people who listen to me, the people who will listen to this, is if the world, Earth, this plane needed to have a dad like mine and me in a situation like we had, so that I could learn forgiveness and then now speak it today for someone else to learn forgiveness. What that does to me and your soul is that it evolves to, oh, I can forgive. So there's soul evolution. So all that to say, this world is not supposed to be perfect. The Gita actually says it. This is the abode of suffering. It's supposed to be like that, so that you can burn your finger long enough or burn your hand long enough to want to bring out your hand. The problem is people love suffering. Me sijui kama it's Stockholm syndrome or what is going on, but people just say, even ndivyo maisha iko, and you just continue rolling in the mud. So the world is supposed to be like that, so that it can create contrast. Stop wanting this pain and suffering, want something different. Stop wanting basic sex, want eternal bliss and ecstasy.
Stop wanting basic sex. I thought you were going to say that start wanting great and rapturous orgasms.
It can be, you can call it whatever, it's still basic. See, it's better to be aware of things. Awareness is very important. It's just because I've learned forgiveness doesn't mean I just go forgiving every human. But now I have a better awareness of the concept of forgiveness as an example. I have a better awareness of the concept of ecstasy and sex. You get? So I just won't sleep with every human because I want to have orgasm? No, thank you.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. That was Miriam Rose, and we were talking about religion, Hinduism. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit on that notification bell. We've got lots of interviews like this in our catalog. So please take your chance, browse all the videos that we have, and I want to tell you, you will not be disappointed. There is a whole series we did with Mildred about spirituality. You need to watch that one. If you're thinking about sex, there is one we did with the Ugandan the Ugandan holistic sexologist. You can check that one. And until another episode, bye for now. Cheers.